Hey everyone, my name is Connor White. Today I'm going to be showing you a pretty great deck profile. It's about my favorite deck probably ever. This is Lightsworn. This is a special list I've been playing myself personally that's been doing really well and been very successful around my locals and at a couple of LGSs near me. I attend Emporium TCG, which you guys should all check out at 3351 North Harlem Avenue in Chicago, Illinois. That being said, I'm just going to move on with the deck profile, explain a couple of my choices. This list is definitely not one thing you've seen before. But like I said, just transition. So first starting off, we have the triple Raikou. This is of course standard card. Setting it, getting your +1s, resolving this card, and then tributing for Celestia. Just pitching the extra copies for Solar Recharge. Just a standard card at the moment. Not much to say about that one. Next we have the standard one-off cards. We have Lumina, our Garoth, our Arcus. This card's actually really insane right now. No Icarus attacks can resolve against this guy. No Caiuses can resolve against this guy. They can't DD Crow your monsters in grave when he's out.
Oh, that's
and they also, like, during the mirror match, like, if you get your Lumina up first with this, they obviously can't Lumina you back. This card is crazy with Arcus and against any floater deck. So against fairies, goblin zombies, like any zombie variant. And then if you have these two together, it's pretty much an auto win, to be honest with you. They can't Raikou any of your guys. And then you start bouncing their stuff back every turn against the slower decks.
Very overwhelming against the Treeborn.
Yeah, that too, like, because it forces them, like, they already, like, they have to keep normally Swap Frog to keep trying to do it. Next is the best card in the deck. This card is, like, literally just a free advantage. Like, I play multiple pots in this deck, which you guys will see later on. So just hitting 2 or 3 of these guys at one point and then potting them all back into the deck to resolve multiple copies. This is truly how you're going to win the game. You get literally free 21 beat sticks. And like pushing for 4K in the second turn, it's pretty much an uphill battle for them at that point moving forward. And then that card also, like, playing 3 helps you resolve Celestia, which is like easily one of the best cards in the deck, like top 3. Next we have triple Lila. So this card, of course, is probably the actual best normal summon in the deck outside of Lumina. This card just pops their back row, just simply normaling it, even when they have monsters on board, popping their back row, and then going to the end phase to mill. And then obviously hitting like any of your graveyard or Wolf, Plague, Necrogardener, you get a +2 essentially off of that. So that's already right there, making it so they have to instantly kill this. Otherwise, you're threatening Celestia or more milling. So like this card kind of like gets you like a minimum +1 every time and kind of puts them on that clock like Lightsworn does, where it's like we're putting names in grave and we're building up toward our win condition. That makes it easier, plus popping their back row. Because like back row is kind of non-existent versus my deck, to be honest with you. You just remove all of it. Next we have triple Celestia. This card has been overperforming recently. Like, to be honest with you, like I said, like this is definitely one of the best recent cards in the deck, as you can see.
I did see that with the deck being so high rarity with the Lila and the Celestia, do they happen to be recent add-ins?
Yeah, so these cards actually, like, of course, like, most standard lists are playing, like, 2 and 2, but as playing the deck forward, we realized that, like, in Lightsworn, having 40 really good cards is very difficult, to be honest with you, where you're not compensating on consistency, dead cards, cards that are just overall bad. Like Dark Monsters, for example, like, this card just being threatening to them every single turn. Even when you have Celestia resolve, and you go the next turn tribute it for another Celestia, and you get, like, you pop 3 other cards in mill 8, they lose right there. Because you can literally, with this card, just pop their monsters, not swing. Then, like, their back row's not even threatening to you. Like,
yeah.
Because obviously, if they would have bottomless their trench with you at that point, you know that their back row's not real. And then following up with another one again is just broken. And then in the open game state where you pop and you have Honest in hand, like, what do they do? Next, of course, this guy. This guy's awesome. This card's obviously your win condition, not so important in my deck, to be honest with you. Like I said, milling triple wolf, like the multiple wolves and resolving multiple Celestias is normally how I win. Like putting a guy on board, Lumina Garoth play, and then followed up by Wolf Celestia, that's already 6K. So like just battling over one guy with Honest, you literally win, or you just wrap it up with this card. There's not much about that.
Obviously. Not much to say about JD.
This card is actually the nuts right now. Like I said, I've been trying to experiment with cards to try and find the best 40 cards.
Yeah, that is very different. I gotta know the reasonings on that one.
Yeah, this card honestly has a lot of things going for it other than the aspect that it mills only from the deck, right? Like, we know we want to mill cards. Milling is how you advance your, like, work toward your win condition, as well as gain advantage in this deck. But this card actually is a light monster, So you can actually add this card back with Beckoning Light, and there's times where they try to flip, like where you flip it, it stays in attack mode, and then you get a stupid trade off of it versus like a real monster. That happens a lot, to be honest with you. And like another thing too,
unapologetically a lot.
Yeah, and like when you mill, like this card only has a higher ceiling, right? Because when you mill and just mill like or just get a spell right off the top, great. Because you're adding like only spells you play in Lightsworn are broken ones.
Yeah.
There's only good ones. So like milling and adding either of these cards to your hand, obviously you know how you're gonna feel when you resolve these cards, right?
Yeah.
You're winning. So being able to do that, but also have the potential to mill and hit these guys, like it's stupid how many times you mill 5 to 6 cards, hit a wolf or 2, and then add Pot of Avarice to your hand. Yeah. Like now you went +1. They have to deal with this guy following Celestia, and then you have, like I said, the power spells in your hand. You overwhelm them so fast with this card. And then there's also one minor instance where, like, I noticed it a couple times where you need to go Beckoning Light but keep 4 lights engraved. Being able to grab this guy back to resolve to that way you have the correct line of light monsters in hand to where you can still have JD with the right names. It comes up a couple times. Yeah. So like him being just that little light in that way seemed to be pretty important sometimes too.
That's awesome, man.
And then also the fact he's 700. Sometimes they try and do stupid monsters like you know what I'm talking about? Like they always do that. Like they always like have like a stupid little monster they flip like a Raikou. They try to attack with it sometimes, or someone went trying to go normal plague on me yesterday. And like they took 300 and I went +1, like, and this guy lived. Like what? This is dumb, man. Yeah, exactly. Next, honest. I mean, obviously that card's broken.
Yeah. To be honest.
Of course. And then Treg. So this card's actually recent as well. This card I noticed is just necessary, like versus the decks like Mirror Match, any strong synchro deck, like this card just saves you. And then when you draw the wolf stuff, this is where I felt the most necessary is when you have wolves, it's like one of the only cards that can save you. Like to out the multiple wolves when you draw them in a game. Because you start, like, he stays strong because they're stuck in hand. And then you start pitching and taking level 4s. And it's permanent take, too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's not, they don't get it back. So, like, when you do that, take their Blackwing monster or just any level 4.
Obviously, 4 being a very relevant level in this format.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like, just yesterday I went pitch wolf, take their wolf tribute for Celestia. So like, nice. All right, good night. And then next, these guys are just like the standard guys. And then this card is just crazy. Like they for some reason always forget about this card for some reason. And I'm playing Rhoda. And it seems like Rhoda's more exclusively a search target for him most of the time because going like Lumina, pitch him, there's really not many outs, only DD Crow. Otherwise, they have to put 2 guys in, and you're not really going to be, not many decks could put 2 guys out and then willingly attack a light monster on top of that.
Yeah.
So, like, it puts them in a game state where it's like there's nothing you can do. My card lives another turn. I'm getting another +1. I'm milling. Like, it's one of those cards. And then next, like, Card Trooper. This guy's good, of course, mill during your main phase, which is really important for the deck. Not sure if I mentioned that earlier, but Celestia milling during the main phase, Solar Recharge during the main phase are really important because that's kind of how you're going to get, like, game faster. Like, putting that 4K out or 5,000 out really early, like I said, with this deck, it happens really fast, and that's how you catch them off guard a lot of the time. Where now they're at 3K, so the rest of the game you're threatening JD, or you're threatening your other Celestia, or, like, a synchro play with Plague, where, like I said, now it's always going to be the uphill battle when you mill during the main phase, and you do that 5K really fast. Yeah. Charge the Light Brigade, of course. Triple Solar.
Beautiful.
I love this card. Thank you very much. This card is just, like, obviously the most insane card in the format in terms of draw power. It's probably one of the best draw spells ever printed.
Wow, and then a full set of the Avarice. They need to know why on that, I'm sure.
Yeah, the reason why you guys are tweaking to me is you guys only play 1 or 2 in every single list. And in addition to that, you guys are playing, like, Chaos cards, which, like, it's double conflicting. And that's why I see a lot of lists not doing good because they're, like, it just, like, the whole concept of the Lightsworn deck common nowadays makes no sense to me. Like, we want to mill our deck, right? The idea of resolving JD all the time is just not real. Like, you're going to mill it. You're not going to, like, putting everything in your deck, restarting, right? When you don't mill wolves, milling your deck not once like most decks, but 1.5 times when resolving multiples of these, milling, like, 4 to 5 wolves a game. Like I said, that's how you win a lot of the time is, like, they're 4K from wolves. Like, this card's obviously, like, to me, honestly, just the best card in the deck. Like, me playing 3 of this when I discovered how insane this was at 3 and no one was playing it. This is honestly, like, what makes my deck the better deck, like versus any other Lightsworn deck, or like how I keep up with every other deck at this point. Because you go double wolf, right? Like you mill wolves, any wolf, and then you resolve in this card. Any point you have 4 to 5 cards in hand with your board that of like your free mills and stuff like that. Like it's insanely overwhelming. They can't do everything. Like they can't take out your board and then you have 4 to 5 cards with follow up in hand. Yeah. Like with stuff engrave sometimes too. Like it's too much. And then I mean these guys are broken.
Yeah.
This guy obviously like this card just searches Garoth like a toolbox card. Mainly Necro Gardener though because it's a warrior. So you go Necro pitch, and then like we have just double back.
And Aaron too.
Oh yep, Aaron and Jane as well.
Yes, so, very nice.
Jane, honestly, he's all right.
Yeah.
But double beckoning.
There.
That card pretty much wins you the game. Of course, like you just fix your hands with this.
Yeah, that card's overwhelming.
Yeah, and then like even when they go, I mean, this is a more common thing when they go attack declaration, you just grab it on a stack, like you snake them with.
And then drop gores.
Yeah. Oh yeah, somehow.
Yeah, sometimes.
Well, you can't because you pitch it with this.
Oh no.
Yeah, but
they don't know that.
No, but grab honest though, like I said, the JDs, everything.
Fair.
That's the main deck. It's exactly 40.
Very nice.
Next is just standard extra deck, of course. I mean, you mainly just go into 6s, sometimes 9 with this deck mainly, everyone knows. Army Arm, Cataster, Android, those guys are standard. Each of these guys, which are nice. Tempest Magician, it can come up. I've never done it because, like, I rather, like, have Lightsworns on the field, mainly.
Understandable.
But it just burns them. It's just, you can make it with Lila. So, like I said, when you do that quick 3K or 4K and they're low, like, sometimes it finishes them. Next, we have level 7s. We got these two. I like this card because you, like, sometimes you do, like, you clear the board easily with this deck. So, like, just ripping an extra card.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's dumb. Or just go Brain Control, obviously, make a free card. This card's cool because it's a light monster. You can make it with nothing in this deck, actually, at the moment, unless you Brain Control something or Mind Control or Orange Light, something like that. Because there's no Light Tuners. So I guess this card could technically come out. But on the other hand, these are the level 8s. Stardust, Thought Ruler, Colossal Fighter. This guy's broken, actually. He beats, like, most of the other... like, you have to use a Raikou to make him as well in a level 4 with Plague. It takes 3 monsters to make him. But against Quick Draw, this is pretty much an auto win. Like, you just start piercing them. And then, again, like, I know I keep bringing up how much damage Lightsworn does early, but, like, it's really that simple a lot of the time. And then this guy, he's awesome. This guy's one of the main cards, honestly. You go, like, get Luminate Garoth plus Plague, and you bounce their whole board. And then you go JD, like, it's over.
Yeah.
This guy, because Cyber Dragon's in the side deck, or when they summon Cyber Dragon on you, for some reason, people are dumb. Like, they leave Cyber Dragon on board a lot of the time. Like, they'll side it in and stuff. And so you have to teach them that you can't do that. And so, like, obviously, you always have to have this card in your extra deck. And then there's just a token. Next is the side deck. It's pretty much a standard side for right at the moment. I mean, like, this is what works for me versus what I play against. Double Cyber Dragon. It's pretty good sometimes going again. Like, for me, like, I feel like if I do go to game 3, this is a nice card. Or if I lost game 2,
yeah.
Like, if they actually won during game 2, if I did 2 of them, that this card can come in as, like, an extender.
Yeah, it's a must-have.
Yeah, exactly. Versus Black Wings, it's really nice, honestly, too. Yeah. Because, like, you can, like, you force their Kalut and stuff like that, and then you have your guys live. This is the best card in the side deck. Like, probably the best side deck card right now. Especially with Triple Pot of Avarice, because, like, these guys become free draws later on. Like, you just pitch their guys, or, like, you know, pitch these.
You can be aggro with them to force it to be live.
Yeah, exactly. Literally that. I mean, there's honestly not much to say about that card. You hit everything in the format. That's good. Frogs, Lightsworn, Vayu names, just for example. Next, we have 3 back row removal cards.
Could I ask, would you, your opinion on maining any of these cards for anyone who, you know, might usually main these consistently?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because since you asked about the Lila and the Celestia earlier, these are pretty much what they came out for. Like, we put more Lightsworn names in because we found that these cards are actually some of the worst cards in the deck. Like, you already know in most matchups, unless you're playing against Hero Beat or a 4 back row deck, when they say 4 back row, obviously, you know that the only 1 or the 2 back row that they have are going to be, like, Deep Prison, Bottomless Trap. You already know. Yeah. So you know how to deal with those monsters in the main deck, like Lila and Celestia, because you just pop them. And then they're already out of their 1 or 2 back row, like most decks normally set. So you just side these in going game 2 or 3, you know, when you know that they're siding in their trap cards and stuff against you.
So you feel it's worth more to tunnel vision on the milling and name aspect.
Yeah, because, yeah, exactly that. Because Lightsworn is, like, isn't really good at what it, like, because there's a lot. It's more so like ignorance, an ignorant deck. Like you know what I mean. It doesn't really care what the opponent does. It kind of just does its thing anyways. And so like when you kind of mitigate those aspects and you just like allow it to like become like it's a blowout deck, you know. So like bring these in, and then you mill on. You know what I mean. It just kind of helps facilitate the deck's win condition, obviously, but without you compensating consistency in your first couple games.
Okay.
Next, this card obviously is one of the other best side deck cards. I mean, you could cut it to 2. I just like having the consistency of this at 3 because I'm really scared of Monarchs. Like, they're just really good, obviously. Like, back-to-back Monarch, getting Monarched is really hard to come back from.
Yeah.
Like, or if they, obviously when they go like Swap Frog, Bounce Caius, or Ryza, and they try to do that again, when you have your set monster like Raikou, this guy comes out sometimes in game 2 and 3, most of the time. But you have to stop them from doing that because sometimes you have to resolve Raikou to get going, unfortunately. Right. So this card obviously just helps. This card's great. A lot of Blackwing decks and players are on these Reckless Greeds and these Jaro Greeds or your Legacy Atagrasus for some reason right now. And they're not siding a lot of these cards out in the next couple games. They're still remaining like to stay those turbo lists and later on. And this just catches them lacking because sometimes their bad players will chain them together even. Mm-hmm. And then obviously just the standard like thing that it does is just negate trap cards.
Oppression.
Yeah, just all the standard theory. But like I just wanted to point out the fact that people are playing those those turbo traps, and this has become really good against those cards. As well as like other side deck cards people side in against too.
Like Light Imprison, I assume.
Yeah,
nice one to shut off.
Yeah, that's a nice one to shut off too. Definitely a nice one to shut off because unless you're like draw your back row removal against it, you have no real way. Unless trying to beat over their monsters, but that's never going to be something you can do. Like you like swinging into back row is just never a thing. Like, but next we have Mind Crush and Trap Dust Shoot. So this card's like kind of a meh. It could probably realistically come out. I'm just using these as like a toolbox card because obviously we're not playing these in the main. I'm sure you would probably about to point that out at one point. Yeah. But it's just not good versus every matchup. Like having the name again is just far more important than trying to like hit a good monster. Versus the decks that it's good against, you obviously sided in against. So fairies and the mirror match it's good against. Monarchs hitting their frog or like their monarch back, so they do take an extra turn or 2 to get going. That's about it. Just having the name and like getting your stuff going, like I said earlier with this deck, is going to be the most important because again, it's not. Lightsworn is just it does what it does. I'm sorry, I know that doesn't quite make sense, but it's just touching upon the fact that like Lightsworn is going to try and do what it does anyways, like milling, and you have to kind of just let that happen. Yeah, because that's how you're going to win, right? But yeah, that's the list, you guys.
Yeah. Any last things you want?
Yeah. Again, the last thing is join my Edison Chicago Facebook group, and then come to Emporium TCG. We'll check and have a link in the description and etc. So that way you guys can come to this locals because we're trying to get that going in Chicago. Big tournaments and everything like that. So follow, subscribe, and etc.
The page, the Discord, everything. Thank you guys. Check it out.
Excellent. Thanks, you guys.